everyone. So welcome back to New Zealand, locking down slightly again. This morning I've got a little bit of a neck thing running up into my, up one side. So I'm just gonna do like a nice kind of loosener and get some heat into my shoulders. So I might do, there'll be a little bit of strength stuff, but mainly it's just trying to get that open. With the neck, when the neck is tight, a lot of the problems do come from the front. I'm actually getting problems from the back as well. So I did some running and I can feel my calves are quite tight. So I'm gonna actually loosen my feet, loosen my calves up a bit and do a lot of, and I'll do a bit of forward folding as well to get that chain more open through the back to release this. I know that sounds like the long way around, but that is very much how I work with my clients, and it seems to be fairly effective. I'm literally following the bladder line of the Chinese meridian kind of up and over the back a bit. So let's get started. I am going to use a foam roller for the first bit. You could also use a yoga wheel, so I might do a bit of both, but either way you should be able to make each work, and then we'll get started. All right, we'll re-angle you down, make sure we've got enough everything there. Just going to put a timer on today. We have much to do since the world's gone a little crazier. So there's my foam roller. I might also want to use this here. So it's my yoga wheel. This turned up the other day on the post for Up Circle 7. Actually, I don't think you can get this brand here. A friend of mine, I'm so grateful for this thing, bought it back for me. So from San Francisco. You might be able to order it on Amazon is what I'm thinking. So first things first. So there's lots of tension in my back there, and I'm definitely going to use both things. And I'm just using the roller to get a little bit more involved. Usually I don't roller my back with a roller. I'm more into rollering my legs with it. But actually, it's pretty good, especially when that low back is tight. Oh. So now I've sort of turned and I've gone in under the ribs. Like if you think about your back as very much being dominated by your rib cage, any angle you can get on that, well worth it. Okay, the other side. Whoa. Oh. The other way I go with this sort of underarm area, rib cage area, is with a spiky ball. Such a nice way to get into it. I really like to get right in the bottom of the scapula there as well. You could also use a ball on your back. I think I'm doing just a quick hack, so I don't want to mess around with trying to isolate lines, tissue on my back. That one. So you might want to keep the foam roller. I'm going to go to my fabulous yoga room here, because I know that if I get it down there, it bites right into my back, and that I can feel that's not happy. Running's an interesting one. And I did sprints. Quite a nice way to use the yoga ring is to like open your elbows as you go back. That usually pops in a few vertebrae for me. Or rather pops the ribbon. Take that one out of the way. So next I want to look at my feet. So you can use a block for this. You don't have to use anything actually. I'm just going to do a nice little hold opening up my feet. Might even get involved. So after running, I noticed this big toe here just wasn't happy whenever I flexed my foot. And because I work on the floor, I get to feel when things aren't quite the way they usually are in my feet. And I work relatively barefoot often as well. So what I'm doing there is I'm grabbing the toe and the bone of the big toe and pulling it away from the others. I've just done that one toe, but by all means do the other as well. And now I can bring that into that toe sitting position. When I'm in this position, I very much want to make sure that I've got nice little parallel feet. Turn that more square on. So I don't want to have my toes going out to the sides. I think I've been over this a few times. And I want to make sure I'm on the balls of the big toes to stretch this open. I'm using the bolster here because it makes it easier on the stretch, and you don't want to break your toes off. You want to stretch the fascia of your feet, which really means that you should feel quite comfortable in this position, and then slowly increase it to be just a little uncomfortable, not excruciating. Once my feet start to get more open, I can take that away. That left one's really not happy. I come down, banging my toes out. As I do that, I can feel my calves from those sprints. So I'm going to cross my feet and lean back onto the calf. So I'm using the shin to press into the calf. Philip Beach has kind of come up with this technique where once you put the pressure onto this, it's calling it the beach roll, you can wiggle side to side and kind of, I guess, cross pressure the fibers apart, which makes a lot of sense. It's also excruciating. And then if I take my top foot and I cross it further up the calf, and then I put the pressure on it, and I'm not putting a huge amount of pressure on mine because they're sore right now. So I'm giving my butt a wriggle left to right. And a bit higher up. Usually I do about 4 points in here. Of course, the light wants to change. I will have to adjust that blind. Unless the clouds help me out here. And then the arch, the top arch of your foot, or top foot into the bottom arch of your foot. So you're looking at that metatarsal kind of join up here. Goes into the top of your foot. You want to apply the pressure. This one I usually go for the whole lot. And then wriggle. And change to the other side. So I'm crossing that shin over. Those of you who've been with me this week and I've shown you this, you know exactly what you should be doing. I've got a bit of pressure on there, wriggle, wriggle. And cross a bit higher. Oh good, the sun went, yay. Don't usually celebrate that. And cross higher. Seem to only be doing 3 points today. Not sure why that is. And then crossing the soles of the feet. Tighten that up a bit. You want to make sure that foot underneath isn't escaping you by being at a funny angle, so you may want to play with that angle a bit. And I come forward, I bang it out. Now I'm going to stretch the tops of the feet. So as I've mentioned before, you want to watch out, change that angle there. You want to watch out for like the angles I'm doing. You don't need to make them this extreme. This takes a bit of practice for most people to get their foot into this position. What I will point out is how I'm pushing the ankle forward as I align the heel. And then I'm going to allow that ankle or that heel bone to kind of stick out towards you guys. And it's going to stretch up the tops of the feet. And for me, these toes are tight. Running does that. Running makes your feet tight, especially if you don't take enough time to stretch afterwards. And this time around, I have to say I did not. I can actually feel that my neck is loosening a little bit with that. Good. Bring that forward. You might want to bang it before you go to the other side. Spin myself around. Bring the foot through. Let's start in the outside feet. Outside toes. And then moving the foot towards the center. Going for that big toe. This was the one that was giving me a bit of trouble. It actually doesn't feel too bad now, but I did stretch it out a bit yesterday. actually. So I get into it and I feel it come up the foot more and into the ankle. Yeah, there it is. Once sprained this ankle very badly, and I think that's part of the problem. And then coming out of that, ooh, tap, 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 tap. Excellent. And we're going to take it forward from here onto our front. Super wondering whether I need to change that thing. I'm going to come into cactus stretch and stretch it out, and then I'm going to come into an anatomical. So I'm just going to wiggle more into shot there. So what I'm going to do with my left hand is I'm going to turn it. I'm always doing this one these days. I find it really helpful for the problem that I have with the front of my shoulder and my neck. So I turn here, I look the opposite way, and I open it up. It's important to note it's not about the shape here, it's about the stretch in the front of that shoulder and the arm. I'm going to keep my head on the ground. And bring it back. I'm going to go to the other side, so I'm going to bring that elbow up. Notice my elbow is just a little bit higher than my shoulder when I sit this. I'm sort of looking for a right angle, but not too low. So same on the other side. I turn that hand away, head on the ground. This is my really tight side this morning. They do swap around a bit. So I'm going to bring that back. Now I want to take my feet wide because I want that anatomical position. My arms are wide, but not as wide as you'd think. Like I've narrowed them up quite a bit. My hands are nice and active and spread out. From here, I'm going to keep my hands stuck to the ground. I'm going to move my right leg to my left leg, so it creates like this bend in my body. And from here, I'm going to push my left leg up, not too bent, and I'm going to take it over the top, keeping my feet both flexed and back. I'm just going to play with that for a bit. I bring it back, take my feet super wide. Take my foot to the left. Oh, sorry, my left foot to the right. And go to the other side. and back we come. Next version of this, so I'm coming back to where I started. I'm going to do the upper body version of it, but I'm going to bend the knee. So I'm going to bend the left knee up, like a big frog. So I've gone star, bend the left knee up, bring my right hand over to my left. Now I'm going to kind of do like a shoulder flossing action, but very shut down. Note that with my left knee and my legs, they don't move now that I've set them. So now I'm just going to sweep in like a big circle past my head. And because I've shut it down a lot, I don't get like the big opener this way, because I'm not letting that knee move. And we go to the other side. This kind of flossing movement can be really helpful for your shoulder. So now I go right knee up, nice flex feet, left hand to right hand, and the right hand moves. And bring it back. So now I want to come into, before we did cactus, I'm going to come into broken wing. And I'm going to pull the shoulder away from the ear while I do broken wing. So there's going to be this constant kind of activation of the muscle on the arm that I'm stretching. So I'm going to start with my right arm out, just so, and I'll go left first, I light. So I'm going to pull that arm down, look to my right arm, and now I kind of just move my feet however it works for me. Keep pulling that right arm down. So if I let it go, I can totally do this, hang out on the floor thing with my foot. It's not really about that. I want the stretch in the shoulder. So I'm going to pull the shoulder down and carefully load weight into it. And I bring that back. I'm going to go to the other side. So I'm going to go right arm out, pull the shoulder away from the ear, keep pulling it away, resting the head on the floor though, and then opening up. Then I'm going to bring that back. Just going to push back into child just to let some of that kind of rebound in the opposite direction a bit. And I have to say I'm quite torn between what I do next, but I think I'm going to bring it into rock and roll. It's actually where I want it to start. And yeah, I think it's important to remember that that loosening the back in this case is going to help me with this kind of creeping shoulder problem, calf tension, etc. So there's many different ways to ignite your rock and roll depending on your abilities and your flexibility. What you're looking for is to not slam into the ground. So if you're slamming, I actually recommend you lower it down. You don't want to annoy anything. And over time, your body usually will start to loosen up and you'll get a better rock and roll. So first, I'm just going to move my legs. And I might want to hold them and do that, or under the knees. And then if I look for my belly button throughout this, I can get a nice rock and roll. You may not want to bring it to this sort of more full-on level. You may just want to stay with the hips. And then I'm going to bring that rock and roll into like my hug and push. So I'm going to, or I might just do it, or you could just do a straightforward fold. So it's going to be rock and roll, up to sitting, push it out. And oh, that's tight. Rock and roll, up to sitting, push it out. Rock and roll, up to sitting, push it out. Rock and roll, up to sitting, push it out. I keep going, a few more. Just sitting, push it out. Gonna just imprint down into the ground and take it into a twist. And then I'm going to come back to forward folding. So knees come into chest, arms go out nice and wide. I'm going to slowly drop my knees to one side, pulling my abs in. Extending my feet up, that's my preference here. You may want to just keep the knees bent. And I'm going to try and work this shoulder and rib cage back towards the ground. I'm just going to do a few breaths here. Bend the knees, abs in, bring it back up. We take it to the other side, extending the feet up, twist. Some people also prefer to like have one leg straight and a knee across. Depends what works for you really. I like this version. Bending the knees, I'm going to bring it back up. I'll do just a little wriggle here. Flexing my feet at the top, hands under hips. I'm going to lift my head, slowly dropping my feet, and then pushing up to sit up into hinge. And now I'm going to come into forward fold, left leg. So I've tucked one. Again, I'd like to go over that that real tendency for us to push the left hip forward. I want to pull back in that. I'm going to breathe all the way out. All the way in from the bottom to the top. Now hold the breath and fold. You want to keep holding the breath the whole time. So you guys go without me. I'm going to reset that breath. So the breath out should be when the spine is aligned, and the breath in should be when the spine is aligned, not when you're folded forward. That's a held breath moment. So I'm going to breathe all the way out again. All the way in from the bottom to the top. Hinge from the hip, hold the breath. Now both. Just before I go any further, this happens to be very tight on me today, so it's definitely the right thing to be doing. Left leg. Right leg. Remembering to pull back in that hip. Both legs. Last round. It is normal that you might feel a bit dizzy doing this, by the way. You can either lie back or come to a sitting position. Just going to take a brief moment there. Just check in with my breath. All right. That is us for today. Quick neck and shoulder opener. There's plenty more we could have done, of course. But I am trying to get a few shorter videos going so that you guys can just check in, do something that's going to rinse enough of everything, and then be able to go about your day. So thank you very much, and I will catch you all again. I am trying to settle a time for this, but at the moment life is crazy, so please keep an eye on the Instagram just to check when the Wednesday class is going to be. Usually I like to have it around lunch. Unless for some reason I cannot do that, then I try to move it towards the morning. Thank you very much, and please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'm being blinded, and good luck with lockdown. I hope Auckland is not going crazy with all of this, and see you soon. Oh my God. Let there be light, and there was.